and welcome to our Worried About Nothing podcast today. We thought we might just talk about pets, animals in general and pets specifically, and what they can bring to our lives, how they can enhance our lives, how they can bring joy, open the heart, and see where we go from there. My name's Kim.
I'm Danielle.
And I'm Katya.
So we started talking about animals in our last podcast. We were talking about living from the heart. And at the end, we sort of segued into speaking about pets and how that can often help people, or people can find it easier to love their pets and open up to their pets and have that source of connection with their pets than with people sometimes. So we thought we might just talk about that. We've all had pets who've all had idiosyncrasies and weird character quirks. So we thought we might just discuss that. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? It's going to be, cut that. Yeah, cut that. No, cut that bit.
I have one just looking at me.
Yeah, me too.
Staring at me.
But it's funny, they always, I think we talked about last time, but we cut out of the recording that they always seem to know when we're doing something. Like, for example, if we need them to be quiet, they'll be really noisy. Or if we need them to be still, they'll be running around. They always know and always do the opposite of what we think the inverted commas should do. I know you were saying, Katya, that your husband trained your cats to some degree, but I've never been able to do that in 20 years. So my cats do what they want, when they want. I have no control whatsoever, which is quite healthy, I guess. So, if I tried to say, come here, they'd walk into the other room. They'd sit, they'd run.
My Russian blue is pretty smart because he goes outside in the summer. And so before the night, I normally go outside and shout, Jasper! And within a few minutes, he's standing by the porch and waiting to enter the door.
Oh, wow.
So that's good. When I just got him, I don't know, I said I would train him, but only if he wanted to. So, for example, I would just give him his regular dry food and I would ask to give me a paw. And he would do that. So I would kind of give him his regular food. But he was willing to do it. It's not like I was pushing him to do that. And then I trained him how to go on a regular toilet, the one we go to.
Oh, you trained him to do that? Wow. Did you use the training litter tray that...
I did, yeah. And it worked really well until we moved because he only liked that one particular toilet. He wasn't going to any other toilets. So then I was like, oh, screw that. I'm not training him again.
Yeah.
So does he use the litter box now, or?
We have a litter robot, yeah. It's like a litter box. And for two cats, it rotates after every time they go. So it's kind of nice. So you could just pick up after them.
Yeah, that's one of the joys of having cats as well, the litter box. Yeah. I guess you can train any animals. I just haven't tried with my cats. I've had 4 over 20 years and only one ever knew their name. So with all the other ones, it's just tone of voice. So instead of saying, my current cat's called Ty. So instead of saying Ty, I could say pillow or racetrack and he'd come running. So I think they do pick up on our tone of voice, maybe more than the words, or at least my cats have. But they are a joy. I think a lot of people get pets for company, don't they? For somebody or something to love or somebody to have around, And I think during the lockdown especially, it must be important for people who live on their own, who might not have any contact with anyone else. I know the woman I work for has a kitten and she says she's very grateful to have the kitten because it's company during the day. But I just kind of go out and see people instead. But, some people don't.
Yeah, I think the adoption rates of animals kind of went up during all of this. I don't know how it's going to go though once everybody returns back to work. So
that's the problem, isn't it? Because I was doing a couple of days at a vet clinic over the last few weeks, and there's so many puppies and kittens coming in, which is great. I love it. But all of these people are getting puppies and kittens working from home where they've got time to spend with them. But if they go back to work, all these animals that have been used to having company all day are going to be left on their own. And also, a lot of people seem to be getting them without maybe necessarily thinking it through, without thinking this cute puppy's going to turn into a big dog or a medium dog or whatever dog that needs constant care, because you hear a lot of stories that at the beginning of the lockdown, people got puppies and kittens, and then within a couple of months, they'll put up for adoption because people couldn't cope with the fact that they were puppies and kittens. And you kind of need to think through that, as baby animals, they're going to need more attention than, you can't just leave them in the corner, they're going to pee on things and they're going to poo on things, but yeah, so it can be a bit sad as well when that side happens, but then they get rescued, which is also good. But the price of animals as well has gone up. It's incredible. Like, I heard a story the other day that somebody bought a puppy for £7,000 UK pound, which is just insane. I mean, normally they can go up to like maybe 1,000, 2,000, which is insane in itself, but 7,000 is crazy.
Was this dog made of gold?
Unusual color, but it was just, I think it was a silver Labrador. So, or silver Labrador.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, they're lovely, but they're grey dogs. It's but, yeah, crazy.
I love labs, so I got to throw that in there. Bring up Labrador. Say I love them. I lived with 2 of them. One from the time she was a puppy, and I loved that dog. She was adorable. They just have like really personable personalities most of the time, at least the ones I've interacted with.
Yeah, I've never met one that's not friendly and outgoing and wants to lick your face to death. And yeah. And they're just so nice, lovely, even-tempered dogs as well. They just kind of go along with everything. They're enthusiastic about everything. It's like going for a walk, yay! Sit in the living room, yay!
I just loved working from home, and she would like put her head on my lap, like to want me to play with her.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was the cutest thing. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't play right now. I would either be working or like doing homework for grad school or something. I'd be like, after I'm done, but it was just so cute.
Oh, I just remembered a homework story. When I was young, I had a parrot. And I remember I did homework. It was perfect. I think I was learning how to write something. I'm not too sure. And then I wrote something perfectly. I was so happy with my result. And the next morning I come in and my parrot decided to chew through my homework.
Oh, no. That's the classic dog ate my homework excuse, but true with the parrot. Oh, no.
You know what about adoption? The good thing, at least, that people getting the puppies and they can give them the attention they need. Because the worst one is getting a puppy when you work, right? Because they do need a lot of training. I remember that most of the work I had to do with my dog is when she was a puppy. I took her to puppy classes to make sure I was doing all the training at home. It was a lot of work. And even it was before I had kids. Because I'm trying to remember to do it now, you need to put a lot of effort to raise a good dog. And now she's fine. I mean, she likes to go with us anyway, even if she has to stay in the car. The first thing, like, she's already ready and jumping in the car the moment you open the door because she doesn't want to be left alone in the house. But otherwise, she's pretty good. I mean, she doesn't really need much attention. She's just laying down and quietly staying in her bed and always comes for cuddles and all the love we can give to her with her wet nose coming under the hand. Come on, pet me.
Yeah, pet me. Like that, aren't they? Yeah. They're funny. They all have the little individual quirks, don't they? Their own personalities and stuff. Because before I got cats, I'd always loved animals and loved other people's. But it's when you live with them every day that you see that how completely different they all are. I've had 4 over the last 20 years and such different characters, such different personalities. Like I had one that was really kind of elegant. She was very, very ladylike. She was very, very spiritual. I think if she'd been a human, she'd meditate every day and she'd, walk on the beach and bare feet and that kind of thing, Then I had one who was completely stupid. I mean, like brainless, completely brainless. He'd walk into walls and he'd kind of, you called his name, really excited, didn't know why. And I got this one who complains all the time for no reason. Just old. And then sometimes you have that special one, that just somehow you just bond with, and that's always really hard when they die. The special ones. But I love them all. I do love him. sometimes. And
Sometimes.
just when this happens in the middle of the night, I don't love him.
Oh my God. This is the most I've seen of him too.
I bet he knows that we're talking about him.
Yeah. But yeah, that noise right next to your ear at 4 o'clock in the morning. No, you don't love him then. No.
And Kim, can you talk a little bit? I know that you do pet photography, in terms of what attracted you to do that. What did you see, I guess, so special? I don't know if it's the right word, that you really wanted to do pet photography.
I love taking photographs of anything, really, and I love animals. I started taking photos when I worked at a different vet clinic. I worked on reception, and so animals would come in and you'd always spend time chatting to the owner, and, you know, the dogs would come up for treats and stuff. And so I thought I'd just practice on them, you know, take pictures of them. And I found it was really interesting because there's so many different types of pet photography out there, portraits and that kind of thing. And a lot of people go for, you know, the beautiful distant shot with the lovely background showing off the shiny fur and all of that, which is lovely. But I find that I like to focus in on the face. I do that with people as well, because for me, it's capturing the personality of the animal, or capturing the soul, I suppose you could call it, of the animal. And each animal is so different and so individual. And just capturing a little quirk, something that's only belongs to them, that only they do, like it might be, you know, a look in the eye or a tilt of the head or something. And I found that when I then would send the pictures to the person, because I'd always say, you know, do you mind if I take pictures of your pet and I'll email them to you? The comment that I'd always get back is, oh my God, that's so typical. That's what he always does, or something like that, which I really love, because it's kind of capturing not only how beautiful the animal is, but their personality and their soul as well. And I think that's what I love doing, is kind of capturing the essence of something, you know, whether it is an animal or a tree or a person or whatever it is. And so with pets, I think because people love them so much, but sometimes have that, don't want to act too crazy, I don't want to be a crazy pet person, you know, a pet owner person, they will try and stifle it, or at least in the UK. But when they get photographs of them, they can somehow, I don't know exactly what the word is, but there's a kind of an excited joy. It's like baby pictures, you know, people go, oh, my baby's so beautiful. It's like, oh, my pet is so beautiful, you know, and then they frame them and put them on their walls and stuff. And I think it's just part of a connection thing, you know. It's like connecting with the pet, connecting with the owner, having a conversation through photos. And it's just a beautiful thing, just to give somebody a kind of snapshot essence of something or somebody they love, you know, because after the pet passes on, they'll always have that, you know, they'll have a color memory of their particular unique pet. And it's interesting as well, because I usually spend a couple of hours with the pet, so in their natural environment, usually in their house or garden, and I just kind of observe them. So it's watching them go about their daily business, and it's just so fascinating to see how funny they are. You know, animals are really funny, and they have little quirks, and they're all unique. And the way that they go about their business, you know, whether it's sort of jumping up to that window at this particular time and staring out because there's that dog that walks past, you know, or just sunbathing or eating or whatever it is. And it's just lovely. I just really enjoy it. And it kind of comes through the photo as well, I think, because they're really good models as well. Because I started off taking pictures of people to practice on, but the problem with people is they're all very, very self-critical. So every single person will go, oh no, but my chin, or oh no, my freckle, or oh my whatever. Whereas animals don't care. You know, you can show them a picture that you took of them, they're like, and so there isn't that. There's it's kind of representative of what animals are like as well, because they're so natural in themselves, they're so happy in their own skin, they're so comfortable being themselves, there's no self-criticism. So taking photos of them is purer. It's like taking photos of trees, they just are glorious. Whereas people, you have to try and match their perceived perception of themselves. So if they like to pose in a certain way, they have to pose in that way for the photo. Whereas I don't like that so much, because I'd rather capture what I see, and what I see as them being themselves, rather than the front they're putting up. And with animals, you can do that, because they don't do that. They don't pose. Well, some do actually pose. It's funny. They kind of do the head tilt, you know, whatever. But they don't do it in a self-conscious, this is my best side kind of way, you know. At least I don't think so. So it's easier and it's more fun. Yeah, and I do enjoy it. I do love it.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But some animals know they're having their picture taken though. It's so
Oh,
fun.
wow.
Yeah, some kind of either show off a little bit and get all kind of, in your face, and some hide. So they seem to know. I don't know whether it's the photos or the fact that you're looking at them, but I try not to kind of stare at them because that makes anyone uncomfortable, but so it's not kind of just unblinkingly looking at them. But yeah, some do respond by kind of going, oh, running. So you have to kind of put them at their ease and all of that. And yeah, it's just allowing their personality to blossom, just like with anything. I guess you just kind of make everyone feel comfortable and then they can just be themselves.
This one, whenever we have friends, and this boy, he just runs away. He's nowhere to be seen.
Whereas mine, Ty, as soon as the doorbell goes, he's at the door. The person comes in, he's like, hi, thanks for coming to see me.
You're here for me, right?
Exactly. If the person comes in and ignores him, he's like, oh no. So then as soon as the person sits down, he'll sit at their feet and make that noise that he makes until they stroke him. I'm like, wow, do it soon. Just stroke him. And
you will pet me.
And then if we're talking, he feels he's not getting enough attention, he'll just roll around. He'll do ecstatic rolling in the middle of the room, start licking his bum,
Wow.
in the middle of the room, which he never normally does. So yeah, he's an attention whore. This one is.
I know people who are like that too.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. Whereas I've had some that have hidden as well. They'll kind of do their own thing, act like normal cats. But this one, he's an actor. It's funny, isn't it? Because I think in the UK, it's a country that's very much a dog-loving country. It's a form of bonding, I think, in the UK. So dog walkers don't know each other, will always talk to each other out on walks. And if you have a dog, expect people to come and talk to you all the time. It's one of those, I think in some ways it's one of the ways that the Brits show their love. They don't do it quite so much to other humans and in the same way, but with animals, it's just that lowering of guard, so you can kind of just go straight over to the animal, give it a cuddle with the owner's permission sometimes. But yeah, it's a big country, country of animal loving people, definitely.
Well, I always thought UK is also big in cats because with all these cat flaps and from what I've seen, there's a huge amount of cats on the streets. So
I think because people in cities that work often get cats, whereas people who either work from home or some that work, but more cat owners are people who work all day, every day, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have both, but then there are parts of London where you have your mansion and your maids and servants and stuff where people can have dogs because there's always someone around. I've worked in vet clinics before where the dog's been brought in by the chauffeur. Slightly out of my league, not kind of the world, not the circles that I travel in. Yes, I'm just going to send my cat with the gardener to the vet, live-in gardener.
One thing I wanted to add is sometimes we attach so much to the pets, we don't really let them be pets. So we have our own straight rules and ideas. Even with cats, many times we don't let them go outside, which is for their own safety. We try to obviously protect them and keep them in the house. Although it never worked with my Russian Blue because he loves his freedom more than anything else. And in the spring, when the hormones kick in, good luck trying to keep him in the house. He'll bite your hand off, seriously. I had a friend, I was going away for a few days, and I asked my friend to feed him. And of course, because we wanted him to have food, we locked him in the house. I mean, we could have left the food outside, but the most likely that birds would eat it.
Yeah, all the other animals would have,
and all the other animals would eat it, so we didn't want to do that. So the moment she would enter, he was ready, he was hissing and ready to bite her and just wanted to go out of the door. So even though we try to wish them well, at the same time, we're not always give them what they need in terms of their own nature. And I think that's something maybe to bear in mind, because sure, it's nice to have a kitty. If you have a flat, it's for yourself also, but maybe learning a little bit more about personalities too, because with my black cat, she doesn't even want to go outside. You open the door, she'll go outside and come back, or sometimes she goes at night, which doesn't make sense. That's when all the wild animals go outside. But she would be just as happy to stay in the house. While with the Russian blue, with the guy, with this male cat, well, you can't do that. And another thing that I wanted to mention, that when we're really, really attached to the pets, actually, to some way, I don't know if that's the right saying, but what I'm trying to say, that they will be much healthier if there was a healthy attachment to the animal.
Yeah, I agree. I think we put a lot on our animals, and they become substitutes often, either for children or for some kind of, loving dynamic that isn't natural for the animal, and it's actually bad for the animal, like you say, So sometimes people, through what they believe is love, do things that are actually abuse for their animal, like, overfeed it or not allow it out, like you say, depending on the breed or the personality of the animal. Or you hear about stories about people who have cat flaps and just welcome all the neighborhood cats in. It's fine. Yeah, I'll give them food. I'll give them love. And their cat will then be so stressed out of its mind because its territory has been imposed on, that it'll have all sorts of health issues, And people also get dogs that they like the look of without thinking about the lifestyle, the personality, the type of dog. There are certain dogs that are meant to run all day. People will get them in London and just take them for a 1-hour walk, which isn't enough. The dog's going to go stir crazy. Whereas there are other dogs, breeds, that love that. And 1 hour is almost too much for them. They'd rather spend all their time just lying on the sofa asleep. So you have to think about these things. And also, I think when animals are substitutes for people, it can be so unhealthy because you put everything on that animal. The animal becomes your confidant, your companion, your everything that you want it to be, or everything you feel you're missing in your life or missing in general. And it's a huge burden that you're putting on that animal. You might not think it, but I think animals are very, very sensitive. They're very aware of the dynamic, and all animals I've known are very aware of energy. So they know that if you're trying to suck its energy or trying to take so much from it, that it's not equipped to give, So sometimes animals will die young because of that, because they can only give so much. Because animals, I think, by nature are healers, so they will try and balance out the energy or heal you if there's anything that they feel is lacking, and they can only do so much. They only have so much energy themselves. So I feel that the thing I've learned over having cats for 20 years, I think this will probably be the last one for a while at least, is, like you say, just to let them be themselves. With my cat, one of the reasons he probably meows a lot is he's bored, because he's an indoor cat. I can't let him out because I live on a 5-road junction, and he has no street sense whatsoever. So, if a car came along, he'd probably just sit in front of it going, "Hi, I'm gorgeous. Hi." Which the car might not appreciate. So, but yeah, I think I wouldn't get another one until I had the space to be able to let him out and just roam. I'd have to have a garden or some kind of, maybe live more in the country or something. But that was something I didn't realize when I first got cats, and I got them all together at the beginning. So it was kind of learning through their life, and he's the last one left now. But yeah, I think it's, people do get animals or get pets for themselves, which to a certain degree is nothing wrong with that. Everyone wants something to love or somebody to love, and that's great. But we have to be more conscious, I think, sometimes of what we're doing to our pets and for our pets. So we can't make them go against their nature. So if we have a cat who likes to roam like yours, you have to let him out or he'll get very, very sick. If we have dogs that need to run, they need to run. You have to let them run. It's like you see a lot of border collies around London, and they're bred to herd the sheep all day, every day, run around all day, every day. And you see them in the park, and their owners are trying to get them back and running after them because they're like, "I'm free, woohoo!" And then you see other dogs that just will plod along happily. Half an hour, that's it. That's all the exercise they need. Yeah, I mean, it's everyone's choice, but I feel, having worked in a vet clinic for 3 years, you see a lot of different types of owners and different dynamics, and the owners that get pets as children substitutes, and they call them their babies, and they, carry them all the time, especially those tiny little yappy dogs, are actually damaging that dog. That dog then thinks it's the boss, feels it needs to protect you from everybody and everything, will try and bite anyone and everything, including children. And you're just down a really bad slippery slope, because as soon as a dog bites a a human in the UK, the law says it needs to be put down. So you're ruining this dog's life, killing it young, all for what you call, what you perceive to be loving it. And it's not at all. Dogs are meant to walk on the ground. They're meant to know their place, all of that stuff. Anyway, it's rambling on. I'm about to cut all that because of this little monster.
Well, that's okay. He's just meowing at the background. It's perfect for this show. When I didn't let my cat out, he was very stressed. He was scratching himself. I had to take him to the vet more often. There was a bunch of issues happening with him. And the same with attachment. I felt like I was attaching to him a lot more because I was wanting to have Russian blue for many years and I couldn't. And then finally, I had this cat. So I was really, really attached to him. And I've noticed he was having lots of issues. And the moment I can just let him be and decided, okay, even if it's short but happy life, I mean, happy from his point of view, not from my point of view, what I perceive as his happy life. I can see what he likes. And of course, in the summer, it's being outside, letting him out. And, he comes for cuddles when he wants. But anyway, the moment I stop attaching to him so much, I've noticed that he became much healthier. He doesn't have as many allergies. It's not like I need to take him to the vet. I haven't taken him to vet for a while, so he's been doing pretty good. So I must admit that just letting them be is quite healthy for them.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think like with the cat, the special one I had, she died a couple of years ago. And between us, we'd formed this very codependent relationship, in that she was a one-woman cat. So it was very difficult for her whenever I went away and I had a cat sitter because she would just hide. She and
it's so loud. Shush. He's like, stop talking about my sister. Talk about me.
He doesn't even remember her. I don't know. But we had a codependent relationship. So every time I sat down, she'd come and sit on my lap, and everywhere I went, she'd follow me around. And, I loved her more than all the other cats. And it was very unhealthy. And it was really, really hard when she died because I hadn't detached before she did. So in some ways, it's good to have this one because I've always loved him. He's been my cat, but I've never overly loved him or kind of overly attached in any way. So to me, he's a cat. He's a noisy little bugger, but he's a lovely cat, but he's a cat. Whereas my other cat was a special girl. And it was very bad for her because, if I died when she was still, alive and young and kicking, she would have been so miserable because she'd only formed an attachment with me. And if she'd been adopted, she probably would have spent the whole time just scurrying around hiding, because she didn't like other people, which is really, you have to think of these things as well. It's another thing to take into account is what happens to you when you die. Do you have someone that can take care of them, or how will people know? All of this kind of stuff. I think people can get carried away with the fact that it's my pet and put all sorts of stuff on that. And like you were saying, I think you have to learn about the nature and what the pet's needs are rather than your needs, because their needs are very different to human needs. Like a lot of dogs, for example, don't actually like being hugged. They'll put up with it because the humans do it all the time. But in dog language, putting your arms around another dog is kind of threatening. So there's stuff like that, it's just being aware of it rather than just thinking, it's my pet, especially the little oodle doodle poodly type ones, all the ones that are taking over the world, little curly doodles and poodles and cockapooies and things like that. They kind of look like toys, so children treat them like toys. And so in vet clinics, I've seen children coming in kind of holding them upside down and kind of holding them by the leg, and the parents are not really saying anything. And it's like, oh my God, that's a living creature. Get them a teddy bear,
Yeah, my dog doesn't like our kids, but she's better now.
Yeah.
There was a few times where she had to leave with our parents-in-law because she was biting the little boy. But he was pretty nasty to her, so I can't, it's not like she needs to put down. I mean, when somebody is not treating you well, then of course you try to protect yourself. So anyway, he deserved what he needed to deserve.
Yeah. I'm sure it was
no, there was no bleeding or anything.
Yeah,
it was mostly
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I meant, biting through the skin, getting blood. That's the kind of, yeah.
Yeah, not that kind. But she had to be away for, I think, a year or so, if not longer, until the kids became older. The girl was fine with her. She was never too nasty to her. She actually knew, she learned right away to stay away. Or if she, even now, sometimes they sit in the car together and the dog would tell them that she doesn't like something. So they're learning little by little, but there is a reason why it's recommended that you have a dog when your kids are 5 years old or older. And I now understand why. It's from my own mistakes, but we had the dog before we had the kids, so at that point couldn't do anything. But it's a true saying, because kids are young and they just don't understand. They can be, picking them, they can be cruel in a way that they don't really understand. They're just exploring, right? They're just growing. So, but I know some other dogs are doing really, really well with young kids. I know that we have a neighbor. He has 3 dogs, so he had 3 dogs, but he says that he keeps them away from the kids separate. So he always have the gates to separate until kids are old enough to understand that, which makes total sense. He also has a vet clinic, his own vet clinic. So yeah, his dogs are very well trained, so it's good to get an advice sometimes.
Shh. You're such an attention seeker, I know.
And I have a mini golden doodle as well, but it's not as cute. So it looks more like a poodle. But sometimes she looks like a sheep if I don't shave her.
Oh, they are so cute, though. All the doodles, they're so cute. I can see why people get them. But just they're taking over, because that's all you see these days sometimes. Curly coat after curly coat, different colours, different sizes.
I can understand why, because first of all, it's good for if you have any sort of allergies. You don't get a bunch of fur everywhere. You don't need to shave them. That's okay. We just quickly shave her from time to time when she's like, it gets to the point where I was like, no, she needs a shave. We don't even take her for a haircut. We just give her a quick trim.
The clippers out.
Exactly. And usually they're pretty good family dogs and they don't need a ton of exercise. Of course, they do need some, but they're not super hyperactive dogs, so I can understand why.
Oh, totally, yeah, they're great family dogs, yeah, and they're great even-tempered dogs, and they're all very, 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 very cute. But it's just like they're exploding in numbers. That's the only thing, there are just so many of them out these days.
And I also know that they're good because they're mixed dogs, so they don't have as many diseases as the pure breed do.
Yeah, I mean, some of the pure breeds are so interbred that the health issues are really, really prevalent, and the lifespan is shorter and all of that kind of thing as well. No, definitely. Pets. But I think for me, it's like I researched so much before getting my cats, because the breed of cat that they're ragdolls, and they're the sort of they're the sort of cats that you can keep indoors because they're very low energy. They don't need a lot of exercise, and they actually enjoy being indoors, and they all the sources recommend that you keep them indoors because they have no street smarts. So I researched, that the breed before I got them, whereas a lot of people don't, because they get carried away by, oh, let's just get a cat or let's just get a dog.
And Danielle, you have a dog with your parents, right?
No. My parents haven't had any pets since I was 12 because my brother and sister are pretty allergic to animals. So after our cat died, that was it for furry friends.
Mm. And we're talking about people just getting the dogs or puppies because they're cute. This is what happened to me when I was a child. I think my dad brought a German Shepherd into the flat. Wow. And that little German Shepherd was biting and nipping constantly on my little toes. Oh. And I was running away from him, my legs up, and my mom wasn't happy. She's like, who's going to take this dog out for a walk? It's going to be a big dog. It needs regular exercise. And then apparently, I don't even know, apparently he had an extra toe that needed to be removed. Why, I have no idea. But anyway, after that, we decided to give him away while he was still a puppy to the village, somebody where he can protect and have a happy life. And in my opinion, it was a very good decision of my parents to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Because German Shepherds are lovely dogs, but you need to know about them because they're not smooth sailing like some other dogs are. Well, they can be, but not necessarily. Yeah, and they're high exercise. You need to train them well, all that sort of stuff. But they're beautiful though. Oh my God, German Shepherds are gorgeous. Yeah, we had a few that came into the last vet clinic I worked at. And one of them she was probably one of the biggest German Shepherds I've ever seen. And she looked really fierce and she was kind of, big teeth and she's all, but she was terrified of the vet. So this huge dog would come in and the vet would come out and she'd be like, before he even touched her. So he'd put his hand out to stroke her and she'd be on the floor going, no, don't hurt me. But I do dog sitting as well. And one of my favorite dogs in the whole world to dog sit is this Bernese Mountain Dog. Don't know if you've seen them. The black, white and tan.
No, they're beautiful. I love them.
Stunning. And so when I dog sit her, I live in the house with her, the owner's house. And she's just the most gorgeous dog. But she talk about attention. She wants attention all the time, which I'm happy to give because, she's lovely. But she's just so funny. I mean, I think cats and dogs they can be really funny. They have senses of humor. I think they do know what makes you laugh. And, if they know that you're laughing with them rather than at them, they kind of enjoy it, So with her, she just do ridiculous things. I'm trying to think of stuff off the top of my head. But animals they do know how to care. They definitely appreciate your bonding or your time together. Like with her, for example, when we go out for a walk, she'd be really excited because she was going for a walk. So tail would be going, she'd be barking, But we walked down the street and every 2 steps she'd look around at me and it was like, oh, look, we're going for a walk together. There's such delight on her face, And then she'd kind of, wag and then take 2 more steps and then turn around and go, look, he's still there. Look, we're still going for a walk, And she just wanted to share everything. She got very, very excited about it, So we'd walk down to Regent's Park, which is one of the big parks in London. And she'd run around, get very excited, but always come back and kind of, check that I was still there and, do the cold nose thing, like you say, or give me something disgusting, which is always lovely. It's like, oh, thanks for that flat, probably fox poo that you've just put in my hand. Oh. When you run off again, I'm just going to put that on the ground. But yeah, cats do that as well. I used to live with, there was a cat that lived with us when we shared a house at university. And she was a really good hunter, so she'd always bring her dead mice back. And for some reason, she'd always place it outside one of the guys' rooms. So you'd always hear when he was up, because you'd hear, oh my God, that's disgusting. I just stood in that. Oh. Which was funny for us, because it never happened to us. But
Did you like this guy? Oh.
No.
Maybe that's why. Maybe the cat felt like he wasn't the favorite.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't my cat, but she used to sleep in my bed because I lived on the ground floor and everyone was upstairs.
Although usually it means that she's bringing the presents. So.
Yeah. Or maybe I think he didn't like her, so maybe that was why she was trying to butter him up or something. I don't know.
Yeah, win him over with presents. That's pretty funny.
I was like, but look, I killed it myself.
But I'm bringing you gifts.
Yeah. It's fresh as well.
You can cook it.
Yeah. But she used to, the way she'd get into the house sometimes is because I lived on the ground floor, so it was slightly lower at the back. So she would jump on the fence and jump on my windowsill. And it's one of those ones that tilted out from the bottom. So she'd jump on and I'd very slowly open the window and she'd squeeze under because she was a clever cat. But one of the neighbour's cats tried doing it once. So he jumped up and I tried it again. So I sort of very slowly pushed the window open and it just fell off in slow motion. It was that kind of, oh my God, at any moment you could have jumped off, but no. The last thing I saw was his face going, what the hell?
I hope the cat was okay.
Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't hard. It just ran off looking disgusted. Here's the one, because this was an old house back home with students. In the student days, you don't kind of live in palaces. And so there was a bathroom on the top floor and then there was an outside toilet, which used to be the case in UK houses all the time, but they hadn't converted this one. So there was no central heating, there was an outside toilet, there was cheap rent. So, because I was on the ground floor in the summer, I'd use the outside toilet and the door didn't shut properly. And this was the cat that would always come and sit on my lap. So I'd be sitting there, the door open, looking at the garden with this fluffy cat on my lap. Those days. Until I'd hear someone coming and you'd be like, quick, close the door.
Well, you were talking about funny things that animals do. And I think just in watching them do the funny things they do, it can be like a giant heart opening because, like you said, they're so themselves. So it's like a very endearing thing to watch sometimes. Like when Nick's parents got the puppy and she was really small, she would like dig in her water bowl, and I guess because it had a reflective bottom, she could like see herself, so she'd like bark into it too, and it was just the cutest thing. I still like laugh. It just makes me smile when I think about it because it's so funny, and her like little like a yippy bark, because when they're small they just, you know, they're like kind of high pitched. So
It's like, play with me, woohoo!
mm-hmm. She's like burp, 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 into her water dish, and we're like, what are you doing? Scratching, splashing into it. I'm like, oh my god, you're so adorable.
Puppies are though.
Yeah.
They're just born so adorably cute. We had some come in yesterday. I was working in the vet clinic yesterday, and oh god, the couple of days before, was it the day before, there was a box of puppies that came in. They all needed to be checked, and the guy came in and put the box on top of the reception desk where I was, and then took the blanket off, and these 6 puppies just were like wriggling, and just, oh my god. It's just joy, isn't it? They're just like, oh, life is amazing, woohoo, you know. And then later another one came in that was a bit older, and she had this little quirk where, you know, when you kind of look at them, you go, come here, and they get really excited. So she would put her head on the ground sideways, wag her tail, and then rub her head as she ran towards you. So bum in the air. It was just really strange, but so cute. So cute. I didn't say that, you know, and you're kind of like, you can walk to me, you know, you don't have to clean the floor on the way.
But the thing is, we think, what are you doing? Like, but at the same time, they don't care, right? They
Exactly.
just do themselves. So it's like, well, is this just me? Hello.
It's just so endearing as well. It's just like, oh, that's even cuter now. You know?
The one thing I've noticed with my pets, I always wanted them to grow. I don't know, somehow I never really had that much, you know, people sometimes get them as puppies because they're cute and then they don't want to keep them as older pets. But I was like, when are they going to grow? Because sure, they're kind of cute and everything, but at the same time, somehow I like them when they're already old and mature.
They're fully in their personalities then, aren't they? Yeah, they're fully grown. Yeah. Because I think all small animals are cute, but they don't have the full kind of characteristics, and they're not themselves yet properly. Yeah, and they sometimes outgrow the little cute things. Like one of my cats I had, she was so cute. When she was tiny, she would sleep, and then when she woke up, she'd cross both her paws over her face and kind of hug herself as she was stretching, and it was just the cutest thing. All my friends would come around and we'd just watch her waking up. So she'd wake up with an audience of 10 people all going, "Oh,
that's cute."
Sounds like a nice way to wake up.
She probably woke up going, what the hell? What's going on? I think when you first get them, you do just stare at them. I remember when I first got my kittens, they got dropped off, and then we sort of let them out of the baskets. And I just sat there watching them. I was like, these living creatures in my house, you know, doing the strangest things.
How many did you get all at once?
Well, I got 2, and then shortly after, one died, and then I got another 2. So I've had sort of 2 or 3 at a time, and then they sort of died over the years. The one I had the longest was 17, and this one, he's 15, so he's kind of getting there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, still demanding.
My boy is the quietest cat ever. You only hear him in the spring, or sometimes he goes.
Do you hear him fighting? Does he yowl when he fights?
No, usually he hisses and have his fur up.
Yeah.
But he's not very vocal. He's a quiet cat.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that must be so nice. Yeah, it must be so nice. But sometimes you hear them in London, cats fighting with foxes, and that is the most horrible sound, because cats really yowling, and then foxes make this horrible sound as well. So it's, yeah, you think somebody's dying out there.
Even my second cat, she's pretty quiet. She just comes. The thing she has, she comes at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning and start purring.
Oh,
Right in New Year, I was like, that's lovely, but I just want to sleep.
Oh, no.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, mine have always done that as well, purring, and then they lick your eyelids, which is the most painful thing ever.
Oh.
Ow.
Sandpapery tongue that the cat has.
Yeah. So that was our conversation about pets. We were talking about some of the pets we've had over the years, some of the little quirks and idiosyncrasies they have. We thought it might be nice for us to post some pictures of our current pets on our Instagram page, which we'll put in the comments down below. If any of you pet owners out there who are listening would like to share your photos, do send them to us. We'll share them on our Instagram page as well.
And if you guys would like to learn how to speak to your animals, then you can go to the Jason Gallant channel, and he has a mantra that teaches you how to speak to your animals.
So thank you everyone for listening. If you like what you hear, or if you'd like to hear any more of our podcasts, do check out our channels. And if you want to be notified about any upcoming podcasts, please subscribe on YouTube and make sure you remember to click the bell to be notified of all the upcoming podcasts. Thanks for listening.